played by Pirean. Actually looking for again. generated a on the Skarner.
Neither of them level.
Like to be honest with
Focused on the bot side. Lightly see from this. He will provide. Well, very common thing that we see from many supports when the jungler decides to take Rift Tiles, because you can very quickly secure a tower on the top side, and if you want to invest your plates anywhere, usually it's into your duo.
Maxlore's not in the best of places. The cocoon comes out. He's going to have to flash the wall, actually stunning up Selfmade, who was like a laser-guided missile. Looking for that impale, but Maxlore does escape, gets the Rift Hold, so all in all, Misfits do manage to find the objective that they wanted.
Interestingly, Hansama actually goes back towards bot. They decide not to go for the swap. So they're going to keep playing standard lane matchups for the time being. Wonder what Maxlore decides to do with the Rift Herald. Maybe they look to try and utilize it mid, or maybe they'll look to finally make that bot lane play. Regardless, again, want to reinforce. SK very happy in the situation that they're in. Their composition scales very well. Something that we've been seeing a lot today is the mobility that Ezreal has in these team fights, and the longer these battles go on, the better. You kind of want to play a war of attrition if you're Ezreal, you know, the constant poking, the constant chip damage. And Akama only reinforces that because he provides massive AoE shields. Once you get a couple points in them, the cooldown gets very, very low. You provide a lot of sustain, a lot of poke, and you really enable champions like Skarner as well. So for the time being, SK, they're not worried. Misfits are the ones that need to make this play.
Late game, that artillery, basically, Ezreal basically becomes just a barrage of artillery shots with those Mystic shots, continuing to pound down on your defenses, on your fortifications. Maxlore's down towards the bottom side of the map, but he's actually been really well tracked by Vision here from SK. They continually know where he is. Even now, he's been spotted on a ward, walks onto a control ward, and Misfits. This early pick Xayah Rakan hasn't really worked out too well for them in the lane. They're about 10 CS down, haven't really been able to get any of those dives off, and haven't even taken more than that first plate.
Yeah, I completely agree. And now Selfmade down towards the bot lane, level 9.
Has Predator.
Yep, you can also see Gnar in the base, teleport available. That control ward is there for a TP if they want. The problem is, SK are aware that Febiven is missing. They know that he has TP up. The pings have come down from Pirean, so SK just being very cautious. They got to wait.
Gorilla takes half his HP. Importantly, no wards left on Gorilla's Spellthief's Edge. Is the upgraded totem. Means that he wouldn't have been able to spot out Selfmade if he waited there. This ward goes down. Selfmade's still trying to dodge around Vision.
Oh, now he's been spotted.
Yeah, now he's definitely been spotted. And there's this ward in the tri-bush as well, so I think that might have caught him as he went up. Maxlore coming down here. Misfits maybe looking for a fight as Selfmade has to retreat. The Scuttle Crab goes across towards the Elise, and Misfits find a small semblance of victory in the river.
That was because Pirean had just gone back to base. He'd only just now returned to the lane. Are they going to look for the play? Look at Syndra still in the river. Nope, they're not going to do it. They just want to provide
vision.
Extra bit of security. Yeah, this early game vision from SK, very, very good. Admittedly, SK would prefer a larger advantage up towards the top side, but props to sOAZ and how he's been playing the matchup. Very safe. The Tiamat for that extra bit of wave clear has been helping him in the early game, but now we reach 15 minutes in. The gold slightly in favor of SK, and both these teams just kind of dancing around the Baron. Selfmade doing what he can to make sure that his bot lane can push out this wave, and I would assume go back to base.
Talk about Misfits wanting to play around bot lane. They're definitely doing it at the moment. They have that Rift Herald. They were looking to try and take some plates, unable to get it down in time. So now well, it's actually been a minute since the plates expired, but you can see how much pressure they're trying to put into getting Hansama ahead. He's gone back, got an Essence Reaver, but Crownshot is in a very pretty position here. And I know we wanted to discover some of these matchups as the game went on, especially the Syndra Karma one. I haven't seen enough in laning phase to be sure that this Syndra is a great pick into the Karma yet.
Well, so you'll never kill a Karma, right?
That's
She's
true.
one of those champions where I think she's just very safe overall. And I think the point of Syndra is that she can farm very easily. She doesn't get forced out of lane by the Karma, which is very easy to do. And I think you have potential gank setup with your Q and E. So I think it's a solid pick. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a counter, but I don't think it's a bad pick at all.
Yeah. sOAZ getting chased out here by Sacre in the top lane. Sacre has just gone out of Mega, so Gorilla might look for the chase. The quickness is on if he wants it. Jumps in. There's the quickness, chasing onto Sacre with the knock-up. sOAZ still holding the Cataclysm, waiting for the flash. Unable to get into range, though, and Sacre will escape.
So Ignite and Flash used from two Misfits members in exchange for Sacre's Flash. He's able to buy a little bit more time while Crownshot is actually the one playing extremely aggressively down in the bot side of the map, continuing to maintain pressure. Hansama can't even approach the wave. And this will actually allow Pirean and Dreams to gain priority over the mid lane, move into the river first, and actually force Maxlore out. That means that when Selfmade finally arrives, it's SK who have priority over the river and the spawning Infernal Drake.
17 minutes in, we have guaranteed ourselves the latest first blood of the year in the LEC Vedius. Previously held by Rogue at 14 minutes 59. Selfmade looking for the Infernal here. Gorilla, of course, doesn't have the ultimate. Infernal goes down. It's got to be it, you say, but I don't think it's got to be it. Like the teams disagree with us right now. Dreams even gobbles up the Scuttlecraft to take it out. Guess who has the longest first blood ever in European history?
Tell me.
It's Misfits.
Oh, really?
Do you want to guess at the time? Because we seem to have some.
28.5 minutes.
28-22. That was very impressive, Vedius. You're very good at obscure facts that really don't mean much.
Thanks, Medic. I try really hard to know those things.
You have approximate knowledge of many things.
Yeah, I do. That actually sums me up perfectly. So, speaking of what knowledge I do have, what I can see is that SK have actually set up a lot of vision towards the bot side of the map, obviously, because they just secured that dragon. Now they're looking for a bit of a play towards bot. I think they wanted to try and force Hansama and Gorilla back to allow Crownshot to clear out the minion wave and start getting priority. But we got to criticize Misfits now, because when they're running this kind of a composition, they've made nothing happen in the early game. They didn't try a swap. They didn't try and set up any dives or any plays, and they've not been able to crack any of the early towers. And I don't even think they even took that many plays. So what I feel was a great early game setup from the side of Misfits has been poorly utilized. Now, that's not to say that they don't have any power come the late game. They have pretty solid pick themselves, right? You have a Rakan and Elise, very good, especially when combined with the Syndra as well. However, I just get concerned because I think about when you're setting up for things like a Baron, how well Ezreal and Karma work together to just poke out your enemies and the amount of mobility that it gives, that I think it's going to be difficult for Misfits to be able to execute upon this composition compared to what SK have.
And we are seeing the Athene's Unholy Grail come out from Pirean as well. We talked about that as a possibility in the build. Gives you a little bit more utility, a bit more healing. Crownshot going for a lot of damage down on this bottom lane tower, whereas Misfits eventually have gone for the swap. They have 5 players on the top side of the map and should be able to take that top tower pretty easily. But Crownshot will get the first tower of the game. 19 minutes, 9 seconds. And with it, SK have about a 3,000 gold lead.
Feels like a very late swap from the side of Misfits.
I agree.
Yeah, and they're now like 3,000 gold behind. Definitely not what you want to see from this Misfits squad. And it's fascinating because like it feels like they're always second on the play. SK Gaming seem to be the more proactive team on the map as to where they're moving, where they're setting up their vision, they're thinking ahead. And this is actually quite a large contrast from what we saw from them last week, where I felt like they were skipping steps and they were trying to force fights that they couldn't win. We're seeing a lot of patience. We're seeing Selfmade do what he can in the early game to protect his laners, and overall I'm pleasantly surprised by what I'm seeing from SK.
I think that's understandable. Misfits haven't really put them to the sword too much this game either. It's quite easy to play defensively when no one's really attacking you, but you are right, they are doing what they need to do. Trinity force on Crownshot as well, not going for the Iceborne Gauntlet here.
Okay.
So maybe relying on the Tahm Kench for the peel, but Pirean caught out, flashes away. We still don't have our first blood.
Maxlore did expend his flash, and he will exchange it for Pirean. So the game's slowing down right now. This is where map movements become quite interesting to me. You'll notice how SK have got a bit of a 2-2-1 setup where they've got their duo up towards the top side. The Skarner is playing around mid because he wants to provide a little bit more safety for Pirean, and there's so much pressure being generated towards the bot side of the map with this Gnar, but he still feels very safe even with no vision, and it's because they have vision on where Maxlore is. So that's another tower secured. Look at Crownshot go in.
Selfmade's on his way. Hansama already so low. Maxlore chunked out. First blood, 20 minutes, 50 seconds it took, but looks like SK want to follow it up with a little bit more. Hansama has to flash away, and SK are on the board.
Great stuff coming out from the side of SK. Crownshot is playing phenomenally. They're generating a lot of pressure on the map, and Misfits, they have all these deep wards, but they're not valuable to them. They're not getting them anything. And instead, SK are just setting up proper vision, utilizing it well, and Misfits are just being run around the map.
Great stuff all around by SK. Crownshot, very aggressive. Knows that on these 2 items, basically no one can take him on, and with the shields and the heals and the devours coming out, is almost an unstoppable Ezreal early on in this game. You can see how aggressive he can be. I do want to come back to us discussing Misfits and the fact that they really haven't had the impetus here in the early game, but I'm going to wait on that for a second because it looks like Summer might be caught out. Crownshot can just go for this. No flash, no ultimate. Teleport in behind Summer as well, and maybe the AD carry from Misfits is overstepped. In fact, I'm pretty sure he has. Sacre coming in behind enemy lines, and Pirean gets the kill.
And this is something that we actually see a lot of from Misfits. When they reset on the map, they always send one person top, 3 people mid, and 1 person bot. So all you need to do is send an extra member, and you can very easily collapse. Beautifully done by SK. They had the vision to set up the TP flank as well. Was it necessary? Well, that's debatable, but ultimately it secures them another kill, and now they can look to set up a siege onto either the tier 1 mid or the tier 2 top.
Looks like they're going top. That's where Crownshot is, and he is their main source of damage right now. Already the tower's down to half HP. sOAZ down towards the bottom lane trying to do what he can. He'll get a tower. Misfits will get their second Ocean Dragon of the game, but it is small solace for them as their inner tier 2 falls in the top lane.
Now, a lot of wave clear is coming out from the side of Febiven, which is making it difficult for SK to secure this mid tier 1. And in the same vein as last game, SK would like to take that off the board so they can more consistently set up deep vision to then set up around Baron. But we get to see a replay of that first blood. Notice how on the map, 4 members of Misfits try to collapse up towards the top side of the map, but it doesn't matter because Crownshot got so much good early damage onto Summer, the Misfits were permanently in retreat. Then we get to see the collapse. Again, look at the mini-map. You've got a couple members mid from the side of Misfits. Summer is extremely overextended in top side. He doesn't have any vision to help support him, and he ends up just dying. So the bot lane that Misfits were looking to play around based on what we saw in the draft were unable to do so. And SK have found advantage after advantage. 4,500 gold is now the lead they sit on.
Misfits now grouping up as 4 in the mid lane. Gorilla on the flank here, trying to find a position where he can get onto the back line of SK, but it's such a hard job to do. Almost needs to scout out, get reconnaissance in beforehand. Selfmade going in, the Impale lands only onto sOAZ. That's a quickness, 3-man knockup, but Gorilla's already so low. Sacre on his way to join the fight. sOAZ low, down to half HP, he's done. And Gorilla's now the next target. You have to feel the flash in from Crownshot. Can't quite find the connection, but Misfits are retreating. Crownshot caught out. It might be enough damage to take him down. They can't even kill the AD carry when he's caught out, when he's out of position. Misfits do not have the damage. True Shot Barrage coming in as SK look to push down mid.
I don't know if they're going to be able to secure this tower. They did take a little bit too much damage,
but
close stuff there, but they're looking for the kill anyway.
Jumps in with the Gnar! Oh, indeed! Febiven TPs, and that's the story of Misfits right now. Not coordinated, not alive, and they're not winning this game.
Sacre comes up massively by gnarring 3 members of Misfits into the wall. That's going to be the kills they need to allow them to secure the Baron. SK, a phenomenal game up against Misfits.
Just incredible stuff all around by SK. Sacre going in, thought they were just going for the least, but they wanted a little bit more than that. 5-0 now in their favor, 8,000 gold ahead.
So we get to see the power of Karma in this next exchange. Notice how both teams are just grouped up in the mid lane. In this Alienware replay, look at how fast Selfmade is. He just drags the target back super quickly after he's already popped the Righteous Glory. Then the shields, the shields, the shields! There's just too much utility. So even though Misfits tried to go for the re-engage, they just don't have enough time. That should be a dead AD carry. But no, he gets away once again. The power of Karma. She has so much utility, and as long as you've got damage elsewhere, you're really in a good position. So here we see a good poke landing onto Maxlore, the poke from the Karma Q into Crownshot Q, and then Sacre, he does what I didn't expect. He just goes in, gets a 4-man Gnar ultimate, and then, oh no! The teleport from Febiven. You hate to see it.
You do, and so much like, sure.
Sad
You're
face,
gonna feed me a kill on a platter, I'll take that one. Now mid lane tower goes down, SK forcing in this poke pick comp that they have developed. Is working out very well for them. Sacre clears the minions, I'm sure that's what he was aiming for in that bottom lane, but Misfits well and truly on the ropes. And you do have to ask yourself the question, when you look for an early game jungler, you had one last week, what's Maxlore doing it?
Well, we'll leave that to the Misfits camp to decide. In any case, they were not able to find any early game leads, and honestly, they've done very little this game. It's just been the SK show. They scaled up nicely, they weren't over-aggressive, and right now they're playing on 2 lanes, but they have a pushing lane top. It's only a matter of time before they break into the base of Misfits. And this shows to me very clear growth from the side of SK. Last week, they were very over-eager. They tried to force a lot of fights that they honestly couldn't win. But this week, they feel a lot more reserved. They feel a lot more patient. And they're playing around their spikes very, very well. Now, they're going to break this base, and they're going to look for their first in-hit.
Going for the in-hit. Crownshot dishing out the DPS. Hextech Gunblade finished on him as well. I think the Trinity Force was a good idea. They played around that spiking power so well, and now they're going to go down towards the bottom lane. 10,000 gold lead, 27 minutes in. SK are speedrunning the end of this game.
One of the fastest games of the day, as they now siege up towards the tower, while Misfits look for an engage.
Fastest game of the day with the latest first blood of the year from SK. How quickly this game has snowballed in their favor. From a kill at 20 minutes to 5-0 up at 27 and a 10,000 gold lead. They are in such a good position. Top wave is pushing in. They still have the Baron for 50 seconds. The inhibitor tower their target. sOAZ looking for the engage, but Selfmade just runs straight at them. The inhibitor tower will fall, and SK are going to continue to push forward.
Beautiful stuff from SK. Slow and steady wins the race. Misfits are just watching their base fall to pieces. They don't feel strong enough to even win a potential fight right now.
When will they be strong enough, though? Because they're 10,000 gold behind. You're not getting any gold at the moment.
Well, Misfits have made the decision to not go for these fights. Apparently, they're waiting for the perfect moment, and that perfect moment may never come. 2 inhibitors are now down. This could be it.
Oh, you can see Dream's caught out a little bit, but he just flashes across the wall. Now there's minions pushing in towards that inhibitor tower. Crownshot just needs to chip away at it with those auto attacks and with the Essence Flux. The tower goes down. Nexus tower falling to a super minion as well. The suppression lands. sOAZ trying to jump on the back line. They're all in on Crownshot, but he's devoured just in time and he gets away. Sacre kills Maxlore. Gorilla down as well, and Sacre is somehow still alive. Febiven will kill him in the end, but that's the double across towards the Gnar, and SK are just looking for the win.
Only 2 members alive on the side of Misfits. Fortunately for them, it's a lot of their wave clear, but with 4 members of SK, I don't think it's going to be enough to stop this final siege. SK, they want to move to 3-2 in Week 3 of the LEC. They're going after Handsama.
An incredibly strong performance here by SK. Never in doubt, really, for them. They solidify their position as a playoff team as they take down Misfits.